Hey, everybody. I guess I have to add 2 people to the stream. I thought you were already added. I'm sorry.
No, I don't have that capability.
Oh, no worries.
Thanks for joining us. Everybody came in really late there. I thought I was going to be doing the show by myself for a second there.
I'm sorry. I had a conversation with David, and it was really bad, so I was completely thrown off with life. But I'm all good now. Marquita's here, too, and that's great to hear.
I came in just right on the same time like y'all were talking to each other.
No, we were not. I wish I was talking to her.
How was your weekend?
It was cool. I had a great weekend. I had a great Mother's Day.
What did you do? Oh, yeah, it was Mother's Day. What'd you do for Mother's Day?
I went to basketball games, watched my kid play ball, and they won a state championship. So,
what?
Yeah, congrats to BWSL, Boo Williams, Addison, 16U, D2. So that was pretty neat.
That's cool. That's very cool.
Yes. What about you? What did you do this weekend?
I was very much of an adult this weekend. I went out. My friend needed some very much girl time. And
where'd you go?
We went to Bar Vegan, and that's like my favorite spot now. I feel like I want to be like a regular. I have a drink that I always order. This is my second time going. I have a drink that I'm always ordering, and I only order it from a specific bartender.
Well, what is the drink you order? So when someone goes there, they can order it too.
Well, it's not on the menu. So you'll have to ask for Raymond.
That's real specific.
Okay. You'll have to ask for Raymond. Okay. I have no idea.
It's no better.
It's really good.
Okay. Good.
So when you can just ask for Raymond. Raymond, tell him whatever drink is not on the menu, you want to try that.
Well, Raymond going to tell me what's in that menu, though. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, I'm sure Raymond won't mind. So that's all I did this weekend. I'm trying to figure out if I want to keep these in or out.
I like them out.
Okay.
I think they're very nice.
Thank you.
Live on the edge. It's okay. Leave them there.
What's on the edge?
Huh? No, live on the edge.
Oh, all right.
Not the actual edge.
So what do we have going on today?
Oh, well, since today is Monday, I will say happy Mother's Day to all the mommies who are watching. So belated, of course, but because we didn't see you guys yesterday, happy Mother's Day. You guys are appreciated by many, forgotten by some, but you are appreciated. Today, the topic is the COVID vaccine discussion with special guest, Dr. Anthony White. And he's going to just talk to us about the vaccine a little bit and the choice. And we're going to talk a little bit about making the choice, which kind of slides right into transition about our MAC moment today. The MAC moment is the Pfizer vaccine has been approved for ages 12 to 15.
Wow, really?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I think there's a little bit more around that. So stay tuned. I'm sure if you're in Virginia, vaccinatevirginia.com is where you can go for more details. Anywhere else, I can't tell you, but I'm pretty sure if you Google, this is how easy it is. If you Google, where do I go get a COVID vaccine near me? Wherever you are in the United States, it will show you where. Whether you believe in it or not, this is just information that I'm providing to all. If you're having trouble locating a vaccination location, Google it and you shall find. So that is my MAC moment. I was actually really proud of that because it was hot out of the press. There's something
that is, because I did not know that.
Yeah, something that just happened. So definitely, if we're interested in your kids being vaccinated between the ages of 12 to 15, they are now good to be vaccinated by the Pfizer vaccination. So not the Moderna or thank you, Toya, not the Moderna or what's the other one? Johnson and Johnson.
Johnson & Johnson has been taken off, I think.
Well, I think they put it back because I've been
So I'm
told.
wondering, what did they do? Did they change something in it to make it okay for kids?
Oh, for Pfizer?
Yeah,
Well, either that or maybe it had to go through a certain amount of trials of people
maybe.
who had it.
Okay,
You
yeah.
know what I'm thinking?
Yeah, that's probably right.
I'll do a little more research. Like I said, it's hot in the press. Something that just happened, and that's literally how it came across my phone, like a CNN alert. So
Really?
I thought that was pretty cool because they're doing a really good. They're doing a really good, you know, way of informing us all of all these different changes. So I think that's cool, whether you decide to do it or not, vaccinate yourself or don't. I just think it's dope that they're actually doing such a good job in informing us about what's going on. Now, yeah, there's been some screw ups, but besides that, we are. Yeah, and it was really easy to do the whole process, but I'll get into that later. But yes, so that's my Mac moment.
Okay, thank you for that. My Still I Rise moment is kind of heavy, but I'll try to keep it light. There's a movie on Netflix called Two Distant Strangers. This is the movie that I watched about 2 weeks ago. And basically, I wasn't prepared to watch it. So I want to say that there's a collection on Netflix called Black Lives Matter collection, which I think is great. You know, I appreciate the collection. However, this was a bit triggering. So I just want to put it out there, you know, support. I'm sure this is from a young Black man who wrote this. I'm sure it is. But I want you to support it, but also be aware that it may be triggering for you. It was triggering for me, and I still ended up watching it. It's about 32 minutes long, so it's like a short film. And it's about a young man who continuously goes out and he keeps getting shot by the police. Nothing he does can change the police's mind but to kill him. Right down to the last 2 minutes of it, he thinks something has changed, and the police takes him home, and the police turns out, he's like, yeah, you thought you were good, right? And then he still shoots him. And so I think that it was triggering for me, and I just want everyone to just kind of do, you know, a little pulse check. My sister likes to call it on her friends, but like do that on yourself. When you start to notice yourself kind of being triggered or feeling uneasy, then don't watch those type of things. Like that's why I don't watch like the news as often, because I know specifically I was triggered a long time ago when I was living in Richmond. Like it was like constant. I was always crying because I was always watching the news. And I think it's important for us to just be mindful of where we are mentally and don't absorb everything that they put out there for us. I know it's important for someone to see that narrative, but it's not as important for us because we are living it. That's it.
I saw sorry guys. I saw something called Monster on Netflix. That was what I thought you were talking about. That was rather triggering as well. But I watched it because I thought it wasn't when I found out it wasn't what you told me it was, I was like, oh, I should be fine.
Right.
It had a very different ending, but because things are so bad in today's world, I really didn't expect a good ending. And so it had a good ending. And so I shed some tears, of course, but
it's part of the Black Lives Matter collection.
It's part of the Black Lives Representation collection, and it's completely about the same storyline: cops blaming blaming a young Black man that had nothing to do with it, and they were in the courtroom. They called him a monster. So like that was what they immediately called him. It was like the first 10-15 minutes of this, you know what I'm saying, of the movie. And it was just so sad because he was so innocent. And I just knew he was going to jail. So I was just like, he's going to jail. And to be honest, the people that he was accused, and some people may have seen this, but people that he was accused with, they were guilty. which kind of shows you that you have to really watch the company that you keep. So I was actually watching it with Elijah while Two Strand twisting his hair. So, and it was just interesting because it was truly something great for your kids to watch, your teenagers, because you do have to watch the company you keep. Because honestly, even though they were Black, they were wrong, the other people. So it was just one of those situations that can happen to absolutely anyone. And I thought it was funny because I expected him to go to jail. He didn't. Just
Okay, that's a good happy ending.
Yeah, he didn't. So that was what I cried about, was that. Because like and Elijah was like, he's gonna go to jail. Like the story was so bad. But Nas is in it. And Nas plays this very small pivotal role where he tells him it's not about the truth, it's about how you present it. So he ends up going to court, not necessarily telling the truth, but telling the story in the light in which people would believe it.
Right.
And he got off.
That's an interesting perspective.
Yeah. So definitely still, even though I kind of told y'all the story, definitely still something for everybody to watch because it was really, really good. And it had a lot of, Jennifer Hudson was his mom.
Really? Definitely go watch that, guys. Now, I can tell you.
Jennifer Hudson, A$AP Rocky.
Okay. Yeah. Definitely go watch that. Don't go watch
Denzel Washington's son. He was in there too.
Who?
Denzel Washington's son. I can't think of his
name. Do you know that Denzel?
Oh, my guy was in it too. The movie where all the boys about the five guys. What's that movie? I can't think of it. You haven't seen it. God, Lord help me. About the
from
boys.
New York?
Yes.
I saw that movie.
You did watch it? I thought it was too triggering. I didn't know if he's
triggering.
So the guy that played, oh my God, I cannot think of his name. And I'm in love with
I know which one you're talking about. The one who's he's like Dominican. Right?
Yes. So he played a 14-year-old.
Yeah, he's good though. He's really good at what he does.
He played a 14-year-old in Monster. He was in Monster.
Okay. He was a 14-year-old. So he just has like a baby face.
Yeah, you could tell they cut his hair down. He was really small. And I was just like, oh my God. It's an action, it's a star-studded cast. It's one of those things, to be honest. It came on after another movie, like in the little box, it popped up. And I was like, oh God. And I said, might as well. I pushed play, and then as it started to matriculate, I'm like, oh crap, let me text you. So you were like,
that's the word of the day, y'all. Matriculate.
Anyway, so I text you, and you were like, no, that's not it. It's something with a yellow thing. I was like, oh, okay. And then Elijah's like, what did Auntie say? I was like, she said that's not it. So we kept watching.
Another sad Black boy story.
Yeah, well, all I knew is I didn't want to watch it, but it really was another sad Black boy story. For the whole 2 hours, I was like on pins and needles. So
that's the way it be, girl.
Yeah. But yeah, that was great. Still I Rise. It was a great Still I Rise.
Thanks, guys. I'm trying to figure out my lighting here. I feel like this is a little bit better. I was giving y'all light-skinned Danny a minute ago. It was like, ooh, she was. Okay. So I think we're right on time.
I guess so. Yeah. You ready?
Yeah. I put her on mute. I think it was Marquita because we was already on mute.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And I added her. This was something new. I added her earlier.
Oh. Okay. I'm unmuted now, bitches.
Hey, girl, what's going on?
Hey, y'all. So y'all talk about movies that y'all watch. Y'all know, I can't watch no triggering movies. Right. I got a short emotional span. It's very little 3 minutes, sometimes 3 minute Facebook videos where it's like kids and their dads at the end of, oh my God, it's so beautiful. So I can't watch anything triggering because I'm gonna be sad for the rest of the day. But what I did watch was Without Remorse with Michael B. Jordan. And
that's why I didn't want.
Let me tell y'all fellas out here. Let me tell y'all something, fellas. if a woman hisses when she mentions you, then you're fine. Because the fact that Tasha was talking about that man and she was like, she hit, like, if you can get
It's another one too. I got there's a couple. So the other one, hold on, I have to go ahead and mention. Me and Marquita have already had this whole conversation today. But the other one, I don't even know the boy name. I just know he's Franklin from Snowfall. That's another one.
Yes. I don't know Franklin.
Marquita covered her eyes when I
haven't watched it yet.
I did. The fact that was just very like sorry.
Oh.
That was very like construction workers when women pass this by.
That's disrespectful. Wow.
Here we are.
But sometimes there is a level of fun that you just cannot.
Like Michael B. Jordan?
He's not really my cup of tea, but
he's not
my cup of tea.
I don't want to talk about that. My husband
is your cup of tea. Okay, that's fine. We'll talk about it in the City Girls chat.
Definitely, right. Let's take that to the chat.
Tall glasses, works on the cable. Her cup of tea.
I married him.
Works for no toxic
guy that I married. He's for me. So I just want to talk about how they pumped this movie up and was like, Lauren London is in the movie. Y'all, she died in the first 5 minutes. I hate to ruin that for you, but they bragged on Lauren London being a star, and this was her comeback movie.
Well,
and she I ain't gonna tell y'all how she died, so you still got to watch it to find out.
I think we all pretty much know someone killed her.
I mean, I'm talking about there are different ways. She could have been stabbed to death. She could have been in a car accident. There's many other ways that she could have.
Are you trying to insinuate that she was killed by a gun?
I'm not insinuating anything, but go watch it on your own.
Story. I'm not going to watch it. I'm not watching it. I've decided. This is why I'm not watching it.
Spoiler alert. If you would like to watch the movie and you haven't seen it yet, please put us on mute. And when we're done talking about it, I'll go like this.
Right. Do this.
Okay. So, first of all, I'm not watching it because Lauren London is in it, and she is actually, fun fact, one of my favorite. So, the fact that they're killing her off the first 2 minutes, I don't want to play. That's one. Second, her boo piece is Nipsey, and I am. That's another one. So,
are you bringing in another hiss?
Well, I don't understand the reasoning of why you're not watching it.
Hey, I'm not done. So
I mean, those two reasons I can't validate. I don't understand that. Go ahead.
This is coming from me, not you. So Lauren London is attached to Nipsey, who died tragically. To me, that's automatically sad. I'm just not ready for it. So then you put her in in a movie where she's gonna die, and the person that's gonna go out for revenge is her husband, and he's the finest man alive. It's just a bad idea. So therefore, I just don't want to be.
Well, you know, if you still can watch it if you want to. I just wanted to mention that part that I didn't appreciate. They did all this hype advertisement for her to be in this movie. And I just was like, I mean, she played some memories, but for the most part, I was looking for, I thought she was going to come in this movie. They might have been a husband-wife duo and she kicking ass too. But you know, I may have had high expectations, but I just didn't like the fact she could have stayed in the movie a little bit longer if you ask me. But what brings me to my next point, because you know, me and my husband, we can actually agree on watching action movies. So I watch action movies. And what confuses me about action movies is, how come when it's time for the main character to die, they have to do everything in their willpower to kill him? When the other people is dying, it's like they shoot him one time. Pew, 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 pew. That's all you hear in the movie. Everybody dead. The main character got to get stabbed, shot, burned alive, bombs put on his chest, and he's still gonna somehow jump in the water and survive on the island at the end of the movie. And I just feel as though that's not a realistic intake. And I know it's supposed to be an action movie, so the good guy has to survive. But you ain't telling me that these people that are trained to kill you is just dying because you stabbed them in the side. I don't know. That's just not the part that I like about them. But anywho, moving along.
Moving right along.
So of course I want to talk about the verses. Of course I want to talk about that. So shout out to the ladies. They look good. They sounded good. The lighting was bad. Why everybody? So whoever did that lighting, they ought to be ashamed of themselves, because we know that these women look better than what they was looking under that light. They look like
they don't.
They do. They look like they opened up a cartoon bomb last night. That lighting was horrible. It was horrible.
It was.
And I didn't really appreciate that you could tell that they were beautiful. Somebody put a lot of thought in their outfits, their makeup, their hair. Edges was laid.
Yeah.
Some edges weren't even there, but we acknowledged that they were there because we wanted them to be there. We rooted for these women because they just sounded so beautiful. That lighting guy need his ass whooped.
Yeah, he probably got fired. I didn't see him, but
I hope he got fired. But they sounded, all of them, every last one of them, even though they were singing over their songs, like they sounded so
that's what they were
good. Doing? Yeah.
Why did they do that? Why didn't they sing them?
I don't know. Some people was like, some of the singers was like, turn my mic up. So I don't know. Whoever was in charge of this piece of it, the lights, the sounds, they didn't do a good job. But I feel as though it's because Versus, Tasha and I talked about this earlier, it's not supposed to be this big ass production.
Oh, really?
It was created for the virtual world that we were in during the pandemic.
We moved out of that now.
Bringing it, but they don't need to be bringing in a team. Why do you have everybody got a team of people that do this? My hair, this my makeup, this my light, this my sound, this my outfits. This you drive my limo.
Because it was at your house.
No, before you couldn't do that. Yeah, it started out in their separate.
That's where they should have left it.
And then they brought it where they were close together, but you still had no team. And now there's an audience. Now it's a concert, because this one in the last was an audience. There was a concert.
Yeah, my friend was there.
They're gonna do it that way.
I was like, wait a minute.
If they're going to do it that way, they need more of a structure, because they're so busy trying to keep the Versus feel, but now you got all these people involved. So, but I do have to say, are you done talking about it yet?
I could not be. We could just keep it going though. If you have,
I just had something to say.
Oh yes,
I loved it.
I loved every minute of it. I think all verses should just be R&B. I don't care what y'all say.
I think that's right.
I think that's better to have it like that than these rappers.
And it was a great time frame, like the SWV Escape situation. I do feel like there are two different times in my life, but that is neither here nor there. But it was just perfect. I'm sorry. With the exception of the way they looked, I want them to be pretty, but I don't care either. You know what I mean? So there's that. But look, with Tasha from Escape,
right? We didn't really care about how y'all look. We dealt with y'all when y'all was dressing like little boys,
right?
Exactly. So we don't really care what you look like.
But I will give two props, just two. One to Tasha from Escape, because she looked phenomenal. She actually, to me, looked better than all of them. On the
heavy set one?
She's no longer,
honey. She was
really.
She went vegan, and she has a cookbook.
She has a cookbook and all sort of stuff. Yes. And then I will say that Tiny, I know. And Marquita was like, well, Tiny can sing. The thing about it is Tiny got so much else going on in this world that we all focus on.
Yeah, she's out here sex trafficking women in Atlanta. I'm just trying to stay under.
Allegedly, all of this is
allegedly. Right. And so, and then all this other stuff with like her kids got all their own stuff going on, which is great. Her husband, which used to be a huge fan. I'm not sure what I am now, but he's got a lot of stuff going on. So with all of that, you forget that she's Tiny from
overshadows it.
Mm-hmm. And so when she hit that, y'all,
what did she sing? Because I don't know. I don't recall her ever singing.
Girl, let me.
What is that song? Yeah, just look it up because I'm gonna butcher this whole title of the song. I'm gonna sing the whole song and then I'm gonna be like, that's the title of it. So just go ahead and look it up and save yourselves. The title.
So Mahogany Me said she's the oldest. Tiny's the oldest.
Well, I mean, Tiny to me, she could always sing. I
don't know. I just never heard her.
No, she's in all of them. She sang
her
and Candy sang lead in most of the songs, and Tasha. And the other one, Tamika, is the one that didn't sing as much.
Foster.
Yeah, I don't know. That's Usher's wife, I think.
Oh, look, and I said, yeah, girl.
I think it's her last name was Foster.
Spread that rumor around. Tamika Foster is the fourth member of Escape.
No, Danielle, that's not right. I'm pretty sure that's not right, but I'll look into that a little further. But
yeah,
her last name. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about Tamika though. While we talk about her, baby girl came to party. She said, she probably was like,
Tamika.
I'm getting out for my Mother's Day. She was living her life.
Rubbing alcohol stuff out of the.
Coco sang her part. Tamika, this is supposed to be a competition. You do not let your opponent sing your part of your group.
Look. You let Coco on the other stage going like this.
Tamika came to party and she said, you know what? My husband told me if I do this, I can't have Mother's Day off. I am living tonight.
She did.
So she was just jamming to everybody's songs.
She was.
She told the DJ. I told you this. She told the DJ. She was like, "How you gonna cut off the one song I actually got a part?"
Yeah, that's sad.
That's why I said she just had a good time. She had a good time.
In Hot Topics fashion, the good thing was, and I talked to a few people that did this. I jammed out. Like I sung Understanding like I was Tiny and Candy. And Tiny sung Understanding and Tiny sung Weak. No, not Weak. That's SWV. Tiny sung what's the other song? Oh my God, I have to pull it up. Do you want
to? Yeah. She was the main singer in that song.
Like Church, girl, which they sung it on.
I just don't know about that Tiny.
Well, no, girl, you have to listen. You got to go back. You was selling the tape. You got to go back and listen.
I probably was trying to a Mahogany Me. Listen,
how you gonna know your product?
It was my boyfriend at the time.
It was. Your boyfriend. So I was a hustler back then.
Shout out to Jamal who bought the Escape.
Yeah, I was a hustler. He bought it from me too.
Why? How you don't know your product, hustler?
I did know my product then.
No, you didn't.
Not you. I knew that. I knew my demographic.
If you totally missed that Tiny did not sing lead on majority of the songs, you didn't know your product.
Okay, fine. Maybe I didn't. I was like, what, 8?
Well, look at you. My point, Mary, you the one who decided that you wanted that to be your profession at the time.
I had to. I probably was trying to buy me.
At 8 years old, you should have been part of the Girl Scouts selling cookies. You was peddling mixtape.
I never wanted to join the Girl Scouts because my mom was trying to make me be a brownie, and I already felt like there was enough brown going on over here. But that's neither here nor there. I enjoyed selling the Escape tapes to my boyfriends, and they bought it. It was like selling salt to a snail. I did that.
Well, you supposed to.
They ended up just like the snail. Get it? Genius. Okay, go ahead. I'll keep the jokes to Marquita.
What did you want to laugh?
It's a group effort. If you ask me, we all got to get a go round in this. It's just it's what we do. It's all of us.
For those that have not seen it, I think there is a way that you go back and watch it.
Yes.
You should go back and watch it because it was really good.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So last little thing is it's not really nobody famous, but this lady sued her job because they excluded her from Pizza Fridays. And I would just like to say, girl.
Pizza Fridays.
So it was somewhere,
like when your parent, Tasha, it's like when your parent comes in the room and I'm like, oh, that's scared again.
No. So it was in the UK.
Everybody be good, Marquita, okay? For the next time.
In the UK.
Okay.
I can't.
That's a lot to ask for.
So,
okay, go ahead. The lady in the place.
The lady in UK, she worked for a car dealership. I think it was the Ford dealership in the UK. I guess on Fridays or Thursdays or whenever, they asked everybody what they wanted to eat for lunch, and they stopped asking her what she wanted to eat for lunch, and she sued them and won $32,000. I hope she enjoys all the pizza she wants to enjoy now that she got $32,000.
Oh wait, that's a good little settlement.
That was a good settlement. Like, you don't offer me free lunch that I don't gotta pay for at a job that I'm getting a check for, and I still sue y'all.
Oh, at work?
Yeah.
We gotta figure out what company she works for.
It was a Ford dealership, but it was in the UK, so I don't know if they play that in the United States.
No, they don't play that here. They'll be like, ma'am.
They be like, you better hope we offer y'all crumbs.
Right.
We offer you a piece of pie.
They're like, get off my line, girl.
Right.
If you ever worked in a call center, you already know what you had to do for a pizza party. They is not giving nothing up for free. So we already know we talk about somewhere in another country. Pizza party, in order for you to get a pizza party in America, you got to exceed your expectations high enough. If the board members recognize you, then you can get a pizza party at your job. But if you think you're just gonna come in on a regular schmegular Friday and think that you're gonna get free food for doing absolutely nothing, you got to be working in the UK, because you is not working in the US of A. You're not working over here. You ain't working over here with us. You is not working over here with us, and you think we gonna get a free pizza party. They is not asking you what you want for lunch. You might get it during Associate Appreciation Week if your job offers that. That's what we get over here in the United States. We get Associate Appreciation Week, where for 5 business days they treat us as if they have
That's a good question. Does she still
treat us like shit for 360 days?
Does she still work there? Do you know?
Who?
The girl that won all the money.
Oh, well, I don't know.
Only 32,000, y'all. She still needs
only
a
32,000. That's a
job.
That's a lot of money.
I mean, that's not
she can flip that 32 and what is it called? Dogecoin. She probably can flip that right now.
But listen, the reason I say that, Danielle, is because if I sued my company and then I'm in the break room, yeah, I got 32K. But I'm in the break room and they're gonna be like, this trick.
She's gonna be like, y'all should have thought about it too.
I would get a shirt in different colors that say something to me, and I'm gonna sue your ass again. I would get it all different colors so that I can wear it every day of the week. It would say the same thing, but it would be red, blue, white, purple, every color. Say something to me, and I'm gonna sue you again. That's exactly what I would do. I would go back to work if they would let me go back to work. I'm gonna take this 32. She probably was making 32 a year annually, so I'm a year up. I don't have to take.
That was a good hot topic. I didn't know
that was. But guess what? It's time to go.
It's time for me to go. I did look over at the clock. I know we have a special prestigious guest tonight, so I will go ahead and go on about my business because
Make sure you're in the comments.
I have to, you know what I'm saying, lay out the red carpet.
How you do that? Let me see.
See it roll? Did you see it roll down the aisle?
Yeah.
That flick of the wrist gets it. Leaves no lumps when you flick the wrist right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Girl.
Hey, girl.
So, you want to do the introduction?
I was looking for his bio, but he didn't send one over, did he? So I'm just gonna have to wing it. Well, I mean, he can tell us about himself when he gets on. Yeah, I'm gonna say all the things that I feel like saying. Okay. So our hot topic, not our hot topic, our main topic for the day is what, Tasha?
Main topic is the COVID-19 vaccination.
Okay, so it's been a very big topic in our household about whether or not
right here.
Whether or not we should get the vaccine.
Right.
We're pretty much split down the middle, meaning the children said no and the parents said yes.
And I was the child that, real quick, I will just go ahead and get it out the way. I'm the one, what, you don't want Dr. White to know?
I already told him. We already talked about it.
I mean, it's too late now. Okay, so I'm the one that does not believe in vaccinations. I'm going to be very, very clear. And being that we have lost a family member or two due to the disease, and being that it has hit our family so hard, I will say that I believe that my father has a very large amount of anxiety about this whole epidemic. So he had this way of calling me, like, I think he might have wrote it down, like, call her every day until she takes it, type SHIT. I feel like I don't even want to curse in front of Dr. White. I don't care that my mama's watching, but okay. So my dad had this thing that he would just call, and he would do it real nice with a slow, like, Isley Brother type tone and say, so have you thought about have you thought about the vaccination? And I'd be like, no, I ain't really thought about it right now, Dad. You know how I feel about vaccinations. All right. Day 3. Hey.
He got a little louder.
Yeah, more and more people. Okay, Daddy. Day 7 or so. Listen now, Tasha, I really think that you should get this vaccination.
She became aggressive.
F it. I'm gonna get it. Yeah, I'm gonna get it. Then I started to think about my travel, and I started to say my kids got to play ball. So, but I'm thinking in my head, like, if my arm falls off, what are we gonna do then? So I called my dad. I'm like, what if my arm falls off? And he's like, I'll buy you a damn arm. And I was like, whoa, it's that serious? So I bit the bullet. The only kid that they didn't expect to bite the bullet. I bit the bullet. Well, that leaves 2 others. That one. And then the other one.
Did they really not expect you to bite the bullet? I feel like that.
That's why they were working me so hard. Mom was working me from up top. She really wasn't saying much, but Dad was like, he was on it. But they weren't really working you then. Then when I got it, it was like, let's move in on the others. But hasn't worked. And now I really am upset that I got it done, to be very honest. I'm really not feeling good about it. But guess what?
What? Your arm's still there.
Yeah, that's
great. That's the one positive thing.
Yep.
So a big reason for me deciding not to get the vaccine has been because of my chiropractor. Huh?
Is it because God's going to take care of it?
No, I did tell my mother that, but that was to get her off my back. But it was because of my chiropractor, Dr. Anthony White. So I started going to Dr. White maybe last October, I believe. And this was when he was a part of another practice, but he has now moved on to bigger and better things. He's like a little upgrade. He has his own practice. It's a max living practice, so it doesn't necessarily just focus on your spine. It focuses on overall health and wellness, which is really dope. And so, Tasha, if you can bring him in, please.
Here he is.
Hey.
Hi, Dr. White.
Hi, Dr.
Hey, what's up, ladies? How are you? Thanks for having me.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. I got my power turned on this morning, so I'm doing good. That's what
good. Excellent.
He said is when you.
Oh, I was about to say your power was girl. What?
That's a chiropractic thing.
Okay. So we've decided to bring you on because you have even today you were like, Danielle, why did you why has your disposition changed on it? And you were hoping that I was going to say I researched, and I didn't. I just said because of you. So I thought it would be perfect for you to come on and share your wealth of knowledge for the people like me who are lacking in their research, and maybe they can get a new perspective on the whole thing.
Sure. Sorry about the bio, by the way. That was my fault. When you said it, it's like, you know what? I actually didn't send my bio.
So. You want to tell people how long you've been doing chiropractor?
Yeah, I've been a chiropractic for 22 years now. It's my 22nd year. Man, 2 decades. I can't believe it. So I'm really passionate about health. I started practicing in Toronto, Canada initially, and then I moved to Georgia in 2003. So I've been practicing here now since then. And so as you pointed out, being part of a larger organization, Max Living, our whole thing is really teaching people how to be healthy naturally. We have a certain set of beliefs. It's really, if you know anything about chiropractic, it's really based on vitalistic principles, meaning that we believe that the body was created to be self-healing and self-regulated and self-adapting. And everything we need to be healthy is on the inside. It really is. And so if we are sick, it's usually because we've created some kind of interference in our bodies. And that's not a far stretch. I think most rational people would say, yeah, that makes sense. If you don't eat properly, if you don't exercise, if you don't take care of your body, it falls apart. I think it's funny that we get that concept when it comes to material things like a car. You know what I mean? Like if you don't take care of your car, you don't change the oil. Look and see what happens, right? It's going to fall apart. But for some reason, when it comes to our bodies and our health, it seems to be a foreign concept. And even when it is accepted, it's kind of like, well, yeah, that's really, really good, but you still need this. I would always laugh when I see commercials on TV when they say stuff like, when diet and exercise aren't enough, here's this drug. Well, listen, diet and exercise are usually enough, all right? It's just that most people don't want to do it. Let's be honest with that. But I just feel like over the years, the narratives have really changed. It's really not about COVID-19. It's bigger than that, where we've been kind of made to believe that our bodies are now born genetically inferior somehow. Somehow our genetic or DNA code has changed over the last several thousand years. The reality is that we are 99.999% similar to all the other people on the planet. And so research shows that in 95 to 97% of the times when we are sick, it's really not because of genes, especially chronic genes, chronic illnesses. It's diseases of lifestyle. So when we look to COVID-19, I mean, we know that unfortunately the people who are most at risk are people who have comorbidities, right? Whether it be obesity or heart disease or cancer. So it's, unfortunately, I'm not saying that it's we shouldn't care. We should care. But the reality is we can't ignore the data. We hear trust the science all the time, but the data shows us that if you are already sick and you're not taking care of your health, you are more vulnerable. The data tells us that if you are not in that group, your chances of dying from this disease are very slim. Like the data tells us that this is not far-fetched, So then, of course, the narrative now becomes, well, if you care about humanity and you care about other people, you should take the vaccine. So my position on that is that I believe in health choice and freedom of choice when it comes to your health. Like that's my position. So if someone wants to take a vaccine, any vaccine, that's on you. My whole thing is just be educated. It's called informed consent. In school, informed consent was a big thing. So informed consent is something that should be taken seriously. So if someone is going to tell me that I should take something for the good of somebody else in light of the data, first of all, I want to know all about this thing that I'm being coerced into taking, number one. Number two, I want to know, well, what can go wrong? Like, don't hide things from me. Tell me what can go wrong. We know that people are reporting adverse effects from these vaccines, which isn't anything brand new. Like the CDC has a branch called the vaccine, I think, adverse. It's called VAERS, Vaccine Adverse something reporting system. I forgot what the E stands for. And it's been around for years. And the whole point of that is that it recognizes that people do get injured from vaccines. And so it's a recourse, if you will, a way for you to say, hey, listen, I've been injured by a vaccine or a loved one. And I need you guys to look into this, and I need compensation. Like, that's what it's set up for. And over the years, it's actually paid out millions and millions of dollars. Most people don't know about that. You can look it up. You can literally type in Google VAERS, and you see CDC. There's a website, and it reports adverse effects. So we know that being injured from the vaccine is not this foreign thing. Like, it's admitted to. So my whole thing is with this vaccine, as any vaccine, what's my recourse if something happens? Like, do you accept liability? You know what I mean? And from my understanding, the burden of proof is on you. So it's not that easy to prove that you've been injured by a vaccine. It's really not an easy thing. And because this was done under an emergency act, again, from my understanding, you really have up to a year to prove that you've been injured by this. And then you have to prove that the manufacturer actually had knowledge of the fact that it was going to injure you. So if you look at something that's haven't been trialed for very long, 3 or 4 months, first of all, how are they even going to know without, that's why it takes years to develop a vaccine. If it's only been a few months, how are they going to know what type of adverse effects you're going to have? So now they really have no knowledge, which is really they're out, right? Because you can't prove now that they knew that there is a risk or adverse effects. So these are some of the things that need to be navigated. So again, I don't have a problem with people deciding to take a vaccine. That's on you, but make an educated decision, and then don't look at others who are saying, well, I'm not really sure about that, as though you're being irresponsible, and then also too, I really don't like the narrative that's being played out there right now, because it really they're really trying to create this medical apartheid, right? Think about it, right? The clean versus the unclean. All of a sudden, I saw an article, an opinion piece that said, people who are unvaccinated should be shunned. Really? So now we're lepers.
Yeah, that's absurd.
So there's just different things about the vaccine. It's a mRNA vaccine. Most people don't even know what that means. Like a traditional vaccine, you take what's called an attenuated version of the virus, which is a killed version of the virus, a weakened version. You inject it into somebody, and the whole idea is that you're going to stimulate your immune system to produce antibodies, so that when you're actually exposed to it in the wild, live, you're protected. Now, I do talk to my office all the time about the immune system and how incredibly well designed the immune system is. It is so complex. So there's really no vaccine on the planet that can replace your immune system. That's number one. But number two, these vaccines don't have the virus in them. How they work is that they take the messenger RNA, and it's stimulating your own cells, your DNA, to produce the spike protein, the same type of spike protein found in a virus. And the whole idea is that the production of the spike proteins in your cells, they attach to what's called an ACE2 receptor on a cell, ACE2, and that's how it gets into the cell to trick your cell into producing antibodies to the spike protein. Now, when you have a coronavirus can produce different types of what's called immunoglobulins. There's what's called an IgG. Some of you might have heard that. And then some of them, what's called a neutralizing and non-neutralizing. Well, things can go wrong where you can cause what's called an immune paradox, and they've shown this in lab animals where they've tried to produce a coronavirus vaccine for years and it failed, because they would inject the animals with these vaccines, these experimental vaccines, and they would produce antibodies as per design. But then when they were exposed to the wild type of the virus, these lab animals, many of them died. So it was this paradoxical immune response where the body starts to attack itself. So now we're hearing in the media things about blood clots. And I have patients who are nurses who are telling me that they're seeing more COVID-19 cases coming in. And these are people who've been vaccinated, or people who, got a vaccine 1 week and test positive the next. So again, it's your free choice, right? I respect that, but let people know, give them all the information they need to know to make an informed decision. That's my thing.
Yeah. Oh, that was good. Tasha, do you have anything to ask, or?
I don't.
Since you're a person who decided to opt in.
It was a family decision. I just
Okay.
made a family decision. I don't have a reasoning, but I'm completely have believed in everything he says in terms. I believe that way in terms of all the other vaccinations. My child's last vaccination was when he was 6 weeks old. So he's 15. And so I did some research and I just did not like what I saw. And therefore that's why my kid doesn't want to be vaccinated. And it's because of me, because I just don't necessarily believe in vaccinations and things that have happened in the past and research that I've seen. He has one of those waivers on his thing in school where he does not have to be vaccinated in order to be in school. So I'm that person that made this decision purely off of family, but I also made it because, like Dr. White said, I feel like society is going to a place where they're going to shun us if we don't have it. And to be honest, I just don't have time for it right now in my life. I don't have time for you to tell me what I can't do. That's just me, personally. You know what I mean? So like, everything else I'm okay with. I'm still not getting a flu shot. I'm still not getting the MMR, whatever. I'm not doing it. So I don't believe in the HPV shot. I don't believe in all those things. And this is one of those things that it's going to get ugly. I think.
Well, the challenge is though, is that that's what people are counting on, that you do get fed up. And I've heard people say, listen, I didn't want to get it, but I want to travel. I want to see listen, I've got family in Toronto. I've got family in Barbados. I get it. But at the end of the day, you have to stand up for what you think is right and what you believe,
Right.
Because if that's what they're counting on, then, I believe that conflict clarifies. Like dissent is not a bad thing. It's part of the democratic process and the scientific process too, I might add.
So what do you feel about how, I don't know if you may not have saw my Mac moment for today, was that they've just approved for 12 to 15-year-olds for the Pfizer shot. How do you feel about the fact that they're slowly rolling it out for the kids, or what makes it okay now, but it wasn't okay yesterday?
Yeah, that's a great question, right? What makes it okay now when it wasn't okay yesterday? And listen, there's a reason why these vaccines are considered authorized but not approved. There's a difference, right? Authorized is under the PrEP Act, which allows manufacturers to make vaccines under this emergency act without having to go through the full gamut of investigations and scientific inquiry and all the different things to make sure that it's safe, right? So it's not FDA approved. As a matter of fact, if you read the Pfizer insert and the Moderna insert, it tells you that and I read the inserts, right? It says that they're not even designed to protect you necessarily. They're designed to lessen any symptoms, and that it may not protect everybody. And it goes on to say that it may not even be, they don't know how long, right? So there's a reason why you're seeing on the federal and state level it's not being mandated like some other vaccines, because the United States a long time ago, made a commitment to say, hey, listen, if something is experimental or not FDA approved, we can't force another human being to take it. It's kind of like a la the Nuremberg trials way back in World War II. Like it's just something that's understood that if something is experimental. So now like you said, people under 18 couldn't get it. Now they can. What changed?
Right.
What changed? And then they'll talk about herd immunity. And I heard one epidemiologist said early on last year from Australia, I forget his name, that the only way that herd immunity can be achieved is with the vaccine. Well, that's not true. Like, that's not even scientific. That's microbiology and virology 101 tells you that herd immunity is something that happens naturally within amongst a population. So even that narrative doesn't make sense, and then the whole idea about flattening the curve, it made sense initially not to burden the hospital. But I think what we're seeing and what we have seen is that you stretched out the cycle of the virus by doing that. Right. Because again, that means the approach to herd immunity has now become slower. Right. So we saw there for the longest time, you sheltered in place, you social distance. And then once you came out, there were these spikes. Right. And the spikes were in cases, not necessarily sickness, which is another thing. Right. This is the first time that I know of that they've used viral testing for viruses and looked at cases. Like normally, how would a doctor diagnose if you have a viral infection? It would be the symptoms, right?
Right.
I bet. So my point is, if you went and tested every American for all the other viruses out there, you'd be blown away at how many people would test positive.
Right.
But we don't do that,
Mm-mm.
right? But
No.
we're doing that now.
Mm-hmm.
So we've changed a lot of the rules and a lot of the things that we did that we traditionally do when it comes to viruses and infectious agents.
So I had a question, but you kind of pretty much touched on it already in regards to herd immunity. I was just wondering how you feel about the concept of saying, like, if you don't get the vaccine, you're in some way or shape or form are harming others. Like so if I decide to go home, I don't have the vaccine. This is not a fake situation. This is real, guys. Right. So when I decide to go home, I don't have the vaccine, but my parents do. Mm-hmm. Do you think I would be harming them by going home?
Well, so that's a great question. So number one, I always say to people who say that, isn't that the point of getting the vaccine? Right? Like, you should be more protected than me, number one.
Right. Right.
So that's the first thing. But secondly, you have to understand how viruses and bacteria work. So, first of all, we are, as human beings, we're what's called a holobiont. HOLOBIONT. I like to spell stuff for folks, just so, right? What a holobiont means that we are a group of organisms together, right? So let's put aside a spiritual realm right now. We're talking just physically, which means that we actually have more bacteria and viruses and other microbes in and on our bodies than we have human cells. Think about that. Okay. And so there's a symbiotic relationship in our bodies. And, they say that we have like 9% of our DNA actually codes for viral particles, because viruses are strands of DNA, on RNA. Okay. So at the end of the day, if you understand that we are constantly being exposed to viruses and to bacteria, then we know that the mere presence of viruses and bacteria is not enough to make you sick. They're necessary, right? You can't have a viral infection if you don't have viruses. So we know that it's necessary, but why is it that you can have 4 or 5 people in a house and 2 people come down with the disease? And I've heard this with COVID also, right? And then the other three people don't. Mm-hmm. Like, what I mean? Like, so COVID isn't biased. It's not like I hate you too, but you 3 are cool. You know what I mean? Yeah. So why is that? Well, because there's something called a host. It's the terrain theory. So you have to be a willing host. And this goes back to the people who become the most susceptible to this infection are the people who are more willing hosts. The people who have a compromised immune system and everything else. So someone said to me the other day, well, listen, all that makes sense, but right now we need a solution. But what happens when the next virus comes along, right? So at some point in time, you've got to say, okay, your best defense is your health. Let's work feverishly on our health. Let that be the national narrative. Hey, Americans, why don't we clean up our health? Let's make better choices with our health and watch what happens. Health leaves clues. So most of the people who are asymptomatic, you don't even have to be in perfect health. To be quite honest with you, there's some people who tested positive that I heard of and that weren't sick. I'm like, you're not the healthiest person on the planet. How did that happen? But you don't have to have perfect health, but at least you're empowered. So This whole idea that you're going to give it to somebody else is not that simple.
Okay, that's good to know, because I did fear that. But I will say that was one of the first things I said to my parents. Well, first, just the idea that I'm going to a chiropractor. Not everyone is like, yeah. You should do that, girl.
Yeah.
Let's not fix the.
Don't see that quack.
But some people, will be like, well, you might need to go to another kind of doctor for whatever your situation is. But that was one of the first things that resonated with me when you were telling me about the virus, was that you have to be a willing host. And I thought that spoke volumes. If your body is basically saying, come and get me, mm-hmm. then it's manifesting what you already have going on. And so I told my mom, and I told you this morning too, I'm I have a chronic illness. You would think that I would have been the first I mean, I take my injection every Thursday. I have a cold like every Friday night. There's a cold that happens, and it's because of the TNF blockers that I'm putting inside me. But you would think that I would also be one of the first people to have caught the virus, and it hasn't been my case. And I'm not sure if it's because I have started going to you, Dr. White, or because I'm taking vitamins, or you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to live a healthier lifestyle. I don't do the best job, but I could do better. And so I think that like the things that I am doing have helped with that. And not to mention, like, I already was clean before this happened, I feel like. So I'm not too worried about other people's germs. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that all of that plays a part in it.
It sure does. You're right. You're absolutely right. And again, it goes back to like our bodies are dynamic. They're self-healing and self-repairing and self-adapting, like I said earlier. But it's like you've got to stay out of the way, right? So there's in our office we talk about food by man, food by God, right? How about this? Body by God, food by God. So we know the apple is better than the chocolate bar. Like, we know this, right? Yeah. We know that. And so when you put food, when you put food into your body, what you're really feeding is what's called your microbiome. You're feeding the natural bacteria in your body. And when you feed that bacteria, the things that they produce is now used by your body. That's why I meant by a symbiotic relationship. So really how you should think about it is that you're eating for your bacteria, right? But then when that happens is the good bacteria will proliferate and keep bad bacteria and microbes in check. Like, that's the balance, the delicate, beautiful balance that we have in our bodies, you see? And we already know that a big chunk of our immune system is actually in our gut. The gut is considered the second brain. So your diet will have an impact on your immune system and your protection. So that's just one avenue. We know that when you exercise, you improve your immune system and you improve your brain function. But we know these things. We know that there are certain toxins out there that can damage your cells and the DNA that can lead to cancer, right? That can weaken the body. We know that. We know that if you are very fearful, full of anxiety and stressed out, we know that doesn't strengthen your immune system. It weakens your immune system, right? Like when you were in college and you were up all night studying for a test and you're like, I'm going to fail. Like, did your face not break out? Right. You know what I mean? Or like after the exam, like you got like sinus issues, like ultra athletes and marathon runners, it's well documented that sometimes after training and competing, when they're done, they get sick because the extra stress compromises your immune system. So we know that lifestyle matters. We know for a fact that your nervous system controls your whole body, right? Where we come as chiropractors, we know that your spine is intricately connected to your nervous system. If your spine is compromised, your nervous system is compromised. If your nervous system is compromised, your health is compromised. So when you put all those things together, you create peace in your life, and whether it be prayer, meditation, whatever it might be. The Bible talks about laughing, right? It's food for medicine for your soul. It's true. When you just learn to relax and have fun and not live a fearful existence, and you take care of your physical body, mind, body, and spirit, you're gonna be healthy, and you give yourself the best chance of being healthy and protection against whatever it might be. It doesn't guarantee that things aren't going to go wrong. That's not the point. But I tell you what, it's a heck of a lot better and more and is more scientifically sound than throwing drugs into your body all the time. That's my point.
Yeah. Tasha, what do you have to say before I say something?
I don't really have much to say. I personally hope that Dr. White being here is a good sign for everyone. And being that he's a chiropractor, I hold that dear to my heart because I have a chiropractor that I've been seeing for years for everything. Nice. See him for I see them for my migraines. I see them for my sinuses, my stress, my pinched nerve, my just anything. My kid sees them. The whole house sees them. And I don't think, especially, and I hate to take it here, but I don't think people of our culture realize how much of a benefit the chiropractor is, and how to do it without medicine. So I think it's a great place that we're creating this platform, that it's a whole bunch of melanin on the screen, and just showing that it's possible. And you need to just do a little research on the practice, and just as a whole, and just visit a chiropractor just once or twice, please. And trust me, it's going to be worth it. It's more than worth it. I live by it. So that, I know that's completely off topic, but that's kind of what I wanted to say.
No, but that's good though. I'm glad you said that. That's good.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dr. White.
Well, I was just going to say, well, I love that, in the middle of this whole pandemic, one of the narratives that was on the media is that, hey, if you're an African American, you're 4 times more likely to die from this. And I felt it just created a sense of fear in the Black community. It's a sense of, hey, I don't know why it is, but this virus is attacking us. And it almost, if you're not careful, it can even smell of genetic inferiority, right? You just got to be careful what you believe and accept. And I just challenge, my brothers and sisters to understand that, we got to take some responsibility for our health, because we happen to be up there when it comes to heart disease and cancer also, right? And it's not a genetic thing. I categorically reject that. There may be some genetic predisposition, but, just because your mom had something and your dad has something doesn't mean that it's genetic. It could mean that you just adopted their lifestyle. You know what I mean? Who do you learn from? So where possible, and we can do better, we need to, because, no one else is going to take care of us in terms of our health. We have to take care. Like, the government isn't here to take care of our health. Like, I don't know where that came from. Right? It's your responsibility, not the government.
We don't trust the government for anything, but when it comes to our health, they're like, do what they say as soon as possible.
It's kind of hypocritical, though. It's kind of hypocritical when you think about it, because the whole situation about, me, well, Dr. White doesn't know me, but I'm going to work out regardless. I'm going to try to eat healthy regardless. That's what I'm going to do regardless of my vaccination choice. But at the end of the day, we have individuals that have gotten vaccinated. But the question is, like Dr. White said, what happens when something else comes out?
Mm-hmm. They're going to get another vaccine.
Well, I'm saying, in the in-between time, okay, you've gotten vaccinated for COVID-19, but in the in-between time, use this as a wake-up. Like, okay, I need to eat better. I need to find out what herbs that I need to be putting into my system. Find out what I need to meditate. I need to go call a chiropractor. These are the things I need to do. So if something like this happens again, because I'm sure we would have never thought a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, that this is where we'd be. So if this was to happen again, are we prepared? No, of course. But we act like we are. Right. So we can now, we don't have to wear a mask if you're vaccinated outside. Why? That's stupid. You have to wear it inside, but you don't have to wear it outside. Like, that doesn't make sense. Right. You have COVID, but if you get tested in 45 days, you still have it. What? That don't make sense. And I can go back to work, but I couldn't 9 days ago. Like, come on, y'all. So with all of this information is so uncomfortable that we don't get. How about we do something that we do have control over? And I know it sounds odd because I'm the trainer. So you guys are like, yeah, this is what she's going to do. You guys do not have to call me to get you right. You don't have to call Dr. White. It's real easy. You just Google it. Mm-hmm. There's tons of meal plans and workouts. YouTube is free exercise. You can just go walking for 30 minutes a day.
Right.
Don't blame it on, at some point, though, we have to take responsibility. You can't blame it on the government forever. I mean, you're the one who decided, you know what, I'm not going to eat the salad. I'm going to go to McDonald's. So at some point, you have to kind of look at it like, yeah, the white man is possibly after us, but we're okay with that. And we're still okay with eating whatever we want. I'm sorry. I went out for the rant. But it's just, that's the way the world is. Yeah, I'm sorry, but that's the way the world is. We're so big on blaming it on everyone. Why haven't you gotten the vaccine? I mean, it's really your choice at the end of the day. But once this is all said and done, if your plate still looks the same and you're not taking anything different, then what have we learned?
So basically you're saying you don't get COVID just because you got the vaccine. You may get something else because you're unhealthy.
Well, no, the world is still, we don't know what's out there. We don't know
That's what I'm saying. So getting a vaccine is not an end all be all. It's not going to fix everything.
And I've never had a COVID test, so I don't even know if I had COVID. People around me have had it. I mean, I've had some symptoms that might have seemed very COVID-like, but I was fine. I mean, and I've had all the vaccinations. I didn't have any type of symptoms. People said they got sick, they got temperatures, and all this. I never had any real symptoms.
And some people died.
Right. People die. Right. There's people that die from it. I mean, and it could. I told my sister I chuck it all up to the fact that I literally have a regimen of things that I do to take care of me. Mm-hmm. And so if you do that, like my dad doesn't even realize it. He's like a bill of health, and he doesn't even realize he has a regimen of things he does. So he thinks that the vaccination is what's keeping him here. Guess what? It's not. It's all those other things that you're doing. The walking on the treadmill, the riding the bike. I don't even know how old he is, but he's older and he's phenomenal. And he can do all these things, but it's because of how well he keeps up himself. Yeah. That's it. That's it, guys. That's it.
You got it. I love it. That's good. It's good stuff.
Are we on schedule here?
No, we're off. So
I got you up here all late. So we just want to say thank you for coming on. Thank you for presenting a different perspective. Hopefully sparking the light for others to go out and kind of read and do their own research. We aren't here to tell you guys to get the vaccine or to not get the vaccine. We are simply here to ask you to make an informed decision and do what fits your lifestyle. And also just be healthy. Go out and be healthy, guys. Just if you're healthy, then chances are you can manifest other healthy activities and other healthy things.
That was what I was going to say too. Let's change the narrative. Let's change the narrative. Putting all negative stuff into the universe. So let's just educate ourselves and change the narrative.
Yes.
Let's talk about things in a different light. Okay, that's it. I promise I'm done.
Okay, done. So thank you, Dr. White. We're going to go ahead and let you go. Do you have any, I'm hoping, let's just put this out there. I'm going to put this out there.
Okay.
And hope that you will run with it. Dr. White has been thinking about starting a podcast. And every other time I come in to get adjusted, Dr. White is asking me about how he's going to start this podcast. Dr. White, you too can have a StreamYard just like this.
Right.
Okay. It's very simple. I can help you set it up. Me and my sister can. I think that people should need to hear what you have to say. I think that it's important that we see more faces like ours informing us. And sometimes that creates a safe space for us. I think that's why, you're my doctor. Personally, you just happened to pop up on Facebook, and there was your face that looked like my dad. So I was like, yes, this is my guy. So sometimes people need their self and their doctors for them to feel. Oh no,
oh
girl, it's people calling me on FaceTime. I don't know. I have a show every Monday at 7:30.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to be on here. It was awesome. And I appreciate what you two are doing. You're fantastic. Sasha, it's real nice meeting you for the first time. Thank you. Danny, you go by Danny? I didn't know that. I thought it was Danielle. Danny, thank you so much. And so I will take you guys up on that podcast. So, yeah.
Okay. So we'll talk further.
All right. Thanks. Good night, guys.
Dr. White. Bye. That was so good.
I learned a little something tonight. If not a little bit, a lot. You should have learned a lot tonight. But if anything, it makes you want to dig a little bit, learn some of those really big words he was saying and throwing at us. That's him challenging us. He's like, learn, hello, figure it out.
But I think that like this episode was like a telltale sign of what we do for every show in general. We're here to create an avenue, a platform to broaden your perspective, to change the way, maybe not necessarily change the way you're thinking, but it's thought-provoking. And also, once again, we're pouring into you guys. So hopefully you'll take this information and then go out into the world and pour into others. But that was really good. It was really good information, guys.
Yeah, I like
That's
him.
my chiropractor.
He's
I
the
think that-
shiznit.
He is, right?
He is the shiznit. You can ask him, can I get adjusted when I come?
I have to ask him.
Yeah. Be like, what do I do to get adjusted?
There's a workshop on the 22nd when you're here. So
Oh, what do you have to do to be a part of that?
no, I wasn't joining because you were here. So
Can't that be funny? Can you imagine Anita getting adjusted? She'd be like,
oh my goodness, girl, she would be up in there cursing. So sometimes at my chiropractor, they play gospel music. Girl. So it's perfect. It's like perfect for me. I'll be in there singing Hillsong songs. But yeah, we want you guys to go out and be healthy. One quick thing also to remember, your spine is like the center of everything. So if your spine is unhealthy, this is what our Dr. White always says, like if your spine is unhealthy, then like it can't send out the correct messages to the other parts of the body for you to function correctly. So I hope that those of you who have been pressuring others to get the vaccine will now, this is kind of like your cease and desist order. This is the time to stop pressuring and peer pressuring and thinking people are going to do it based off of the little information that you have provided, and just, respect people's decisions. Okay. So once again, thank you for joining us again every Monday at 7:30. On Facebook Live and YouTube. Be sure, if you haven't already, check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Ebony something, and all the podcast places that you can watch or listen. Once again, we are here to pour into you. We hope that you are able to go out in the world for the rest of the week and pour into others. Bye.